So there, you can't quite say it in as many words in any other way. It seems it's a decision out of hurt, it's a decision out of anger. Clearly the BCCI could have handled it in a better way. VVS Laxman mentioned in his press conference that he only told the selectors today. So clearly a breakdown of the relationship. Would you say that the BCCI could have handled it in a better way, perhaps by talking to him once it was out in the media that he's going to announce his retirement?
I think it caught the BCCI a bit unawares also that he would retire immediate effect. I'm sure the BCCI thought that he would play those 2 test matches and then finish, which would allow them time to pick the team against England, which would still be a couple of months away after the test match in Bangalore. But with the immediate effect must have stumped the BCCI, and I don't think it's right to blame the BCCI in every department. The selectors are mature people, and I think they should have handled it carefully. There are some quality names there. You got Mohinder Ramanath there as a part of the selection committee, and he should have handled it better. The selection committee has shown a lot of lack of farsightedness when they pick the test team. And the biggest point what they have shown here is that everybody is not treated on the same scale. Today VVS Laxman doesn't deserve a place in the side because of his poor performance in Australia or England. After India's 8 losses overseas, there are a lot of other players who doesn't deserve a place in the side. The selectors have picked the same 15 who were a part of that squad, with the exception of Rahul Dravid retiring. So they've just gone on to show that, you know, those eight losses overseas don't really matter. And I think from that point of view, they have really showed very, very poor thinking, and the way Lakshman's decision has happened today, it just goes to show that they're not capable of handling things properly.
Clearly they have botched this up, because for a man of VVS Laxman's stature to be making such a statement, Sourav, what do you think the VVS is trying to say here when he made this decision? Obviously the first reaction that everyone had was that obviously something has gone amiss, because it's unlike him to be selected in the squad, to have the favor of the selectors and then, you know, rebuff them in this manner. What kind of a statement do you think VVS Laxman is trying to make here?
I think he sent a clear message to the selectors that you got to be fair in your judgment, which they haven't been. And I completely agree with VVS Laxman that the selectors haven't been fair in the selection process. As I said, selection should completely be on the basis of performance, and the squad they picked a couple of weeks ago as a 15-man squad for those 2 test matches, it just showed to all of us that, listen, this is our last selection of the test team as a selection committee. There will be new selectors coming in after this, so let's just pick whatever we have. Let's not try and do anything different, and let's put the burden on somebody else's shoulder.
Sourav, I have to ask you, do you feel at this point of time VVS Laxman could have carried on and played more cricket, or do you think as far as the retirement is concerned, it's come at the right time?
See, it has to be judged on performance. I've always said age is no criteria for selection. My point here is that if VVS Laxman doesn't deserve a place in the national side because of his performance, I can pick 6 players on the tour of England and Australia who doesn't deserve a place in the side because of performance. My point here is simple, that everybody should be judged on the same plane, and Laxman is probably a better player, a better record than most of the other players. So if he can be left out from those as a result of poor performance, it has to be the same rule for everyone. And I think the selectors have handled this situation very, very poorly. And if they had to make this decision of asking Laxman to open up places for the young players, they could have done it straight away after the tour of Australia, which had happened about six months back. We all know that Laxman was training very hard. He was in the NCA. He was playing domestic cricket in Hyderabad to get ready for this test series, and then bang, on the 3 or 4 days before a test match after being selected, he says he doesn't want to play anymore. So I think it's just a reaction of how the selectors have handled this issue.
Right, Nikhil, clearly it's not just VVS Laxman who can be blamed for what happened in England and Australia, and Sourav there making a very pertinent point that you have to be fair to everyone. In this case, it's very clear that Laxman was hurt with whatever went on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. You know, you can't have different yardsticks for different players. You know, there are 11 members of the side, and at the end of the day, if they haven't performed, you can't put all the blame on one particular person. And I completely agree with Dada, you know, with VVS Laxman being hurt. If he's getting ready, he's training, you know, if you put 2 and 2 together, they all match, because here the selectors must have said that we're giving you the last 2 test matches, you can announce your retirement. And Laxman must have been hurt, because the stature of somebody like VVS Laxman, he doesn't need charity. After playing 134 test matches, he most certainly doesn't need charity, and that's what he felt. He says, forget about the 2 games, I might as well call it from right here. I don't want to play those 2 test matches.